Welcome to our audience around the world. It's a privilege to moderate this event today, continuing our series dedicated to the cross-industry impact of AI. While there are several industries where AI has already demonstrated a transformative impact, we selected two verticals for our first few episodes, Fintech and Health Tech. According to several consulting firms and international organizations such as the World Economic Forum, OECD, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, World Health Organization, AI is poised to disrupt these industries over the next decade at numerous layers. Additionally, they have highlighted that there are several elements that we must pay attention to, from productivity growth, workforce dynamics, recalibrating corporate culture, as well as significant AI enterprise-wide integrations that will happen. Additionally, the increased automation across all industries and the hybrid workflow will also influence not only these two verticals, but also will cause a blurring of boundaries between industries. Today, we have invited global experts and global citizens, actually, that will share their own experience and expertise with deploying AI at enterprise level and engaging with numerous stakeholders across all industries to share how they have been able to adopt AI and some of the challenges they have encountered. Please allow me to briefly introduce their bios. These are just highlights. All our speakers are highly accomplished, so I would not be able to share their full bio. First, please allow me to welcome Dr. Efi Pylarinou. She's a seasoned Wall Street professional and ex-academic who has become a top global fintech and tech leader, who is a trusted expert in many venues and a speaker that is highly coveted. She has been, of course, speaking and involved with brands like Microsoft, Oracle, NVIDIA, and of course, several other innovative financial services providers as well. She started her career on Wall Street at the Salomon Brothers in fixed income structured products. She's a domain expert with a PhD in finance, a prolific content creator. We all admire her, a host, author, and a speaker. And as you can see, she has a next book coming. She's also faculty at the Fast Future Executive, where she's lecturing live on the future of finance and money. She's consistently included in several top rankings, pretty much all the rankings you can have, you'll find Efi listed, and a contributing author in the spring 2024 edition, published by Wiley, The Fast Future Blur. So I'm really excited to read all your insights in that book. And of course, Efi also has several other prestigious publications if you wish to check them out. Welcome, Efi.
Thank you, Dr. Ingrid. Thank you so much. You make me blush.
No, thank you for joining us. And then please allow me to also introduce Dr. Feng. She's the CEO and co-founder of Huma AI, a generative AI-powered insight engine for life sciences. Under her leadership, the company built a generative AI platform around large language models to provide much-needed high accuracy and transparency for the healthcare and life sciences industry. Huma AI's insight engine automates data curation for pharma and medical device companies, thereby accelerating the development of new medicines and saving patient lives. She's a technology thought leader, and Gartner has actually named Huma AI a leading Gen AI vendor in more than 20 of its hype cycle reports, including those for AI, emerging technologies, and life sciences. Major accomplishment. Congratulations, Lana. Mm-hmm. And Huma AI is also part of the prestigious Pegasus program for Microsoft startups. Dr. Feng spent over 20 years in precision medicine, and before founding Huma AI, she worked at Novartis, the oncology business unit, joining its acquisition of Genoptix. Dr. Feng was hired by Genoptix to build a biopharma division, growing sales from 0 to 45 million in 5 years, and was instrumental to its acquisition by Novartis. Dr. Feng holds a PhD in genetics, cellular and developmental biology from Indiana University, and did her postdoctoral research at University of California, San Diego. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. Great. Nice to be here.
Thank you. And last but not least, Yamina Hakem. She's a globally recognized executive, also global citizen, transatlantic accomplishments. with over 3 decades of experience in international business development and information technology in the pharmaceutical and life sciences industries. As the founder and CEO of Global Reach BI, a consulting company dedicated to strategic intelligence, she has also harnessed AI technology to provide client partners with strategic, data-driven insights. This innovation has propelled Global Reach BI to the forefront of the pharmaceutical life sciences industry. Prior to founding Global Reach BI, Yamina had an illustrious career at Thomson Reuters, where she held several key leadership positions. She is a member of the board of directors at Pharma and Le Conseiller of the board of directors at Pharma and also Le Conseiller de Commerce Extérieur de la France, where she provides expert guidance on international trade and economic development, making significant contributions to the advancement of the pharmaceutical and life sciences industries. She will share key insights about pharma industry trends and how she managed the recent launch of her generative AI-enabled Spring platform that contributes to the life sciences ecosystem. So I'm sure our audience is excited to hear from leaders that have actually been immersed in AI, not just reading and talking about it. So now I'm excited to kick off our round robin discussion. And I would love to hear your thoughts, Efi, on the trends that you see currently that are transcending all industries. What have you noticed that AI has been able to accomplish across all industries?
Well, it's changing everything, as we all realize, and it's unfortunate that ChatGPT has stolen the GPT acronym, because it is a general purpose technology in its proper sense, not only because it's applied and it's affecting and will transform all industries, but also because research continues and the innovations are accelerating. And the third aspect that makes it really a general purpose technology is what's called its combinatorial capabilities. So combined with other technologies and combined with other stacks, we are going to be seeing much more innovation. We haven't seen that yet. I must highlight that overall, we have seen the real adoption that we have seen across industries is mostly about productivity and efficiency gains. We have not yet seen true new revenues, new business models, real disruption in that sense, but it is expected. But that's where I see the industry. I see a bottleneck, if you want, because of the war for talent. Despite the fact that we are all talking about a huge transformation in the workforce, which will happen, it's not a blanket transformation, and we don't have the human resources, the human capital that is needed right now to take it where it could go. And I'd love to hear Yamina and Lan's view on these aspects. The other big transformation that I'm seeing in disruption is the challenge of the concept of intellectual property. What is intellectual property in the era of AI? Like it or not, it is going to change both from legal concept and an industry, a market concept. We are unclear what it will be, but it is challenged, and there are opportunities and challenges for our industries. We are seeing in many industries innovations in cybersecurity, because using the new capabilities of AI in the cybersecurity industry that was already stretched. And I mentioned the cybersecurity industry because it's also a cross-industry theme that is extremely important in the fourth industrial revolution, and even going forwards in our digital life. So I'm noting the innovative ways that the advancement in AI are already being used in cybersecurity across all industries, but also the need to innovate and create new ways to deal with the new problems that generative AI is creating in cybersecurity. So it's like the world is in an extremely busy and complex situation where we are creating new capabilities and we are creating new problems. And this requires innovation. So I'm seeing these two yin and yang happening at the same time. The other cross-industry observation is that we have a lot of innovation going on. In the past 6 months, if we look at any report, there are hundreds of new apps, if you want, that are leveraging this new technology. The issue that we have is that these new apps, new businesses, new capabilities have a very high churn. Customers, be it end users like you and me, or enterprise, are not sticking to these apps. They are experimenting. We are in an early phase, it is clear, even though we are all amazed by the new capabilities. It is extremely early in the phase of this development. I would say that these are all cross-industry observations. At the enterprise level, I am happy to realize, talking to board members, talking to C-suite, that everybody understands the urgency to adopt an AI risk management framework for the business, for the ecosystems. This is a huge benefit. I mean, AI risk management frameworks existed before, right? 5 years ago.
Oh.
You know, right? AI is not new. Machine learning is not new. Natural language processing is not new. But these advancements have made it clear, everybody has the buy-in now that we need to have AI risk management frameworks in our businesses. I will stop here. I could go on and on, but these are a couple of observations that I see that are cross-industry.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We might be able to sprinkle ethics in there next to cyber, but Lana, what are your observations? Life sciences covers also so many domains, so maybe highlight those that you're mostly involved in, but also outside life sciences, the cross-industry impact.
Maybe because we've been working with this for quite some time, I can give some of our experience, right? I mean, Efi's right? If you look at the history of AI, we were working on like neural networks and deep learning, it's been decades in research, but really what caused this kind of step function, right? The world is never the same. When OpenAI launched ChatGPT only a year and a half ago, the innovation is really accelerated at the rate that no one could have predicted a year and a half ago, right? So really kind of, there was a lot of research before, and then it really wasn't until the seminal paper published, right? Attention is all you need. This has accelerated the development of these large language models. And then I want to touch upon this general foundation models, right? Like the GPT-4s, like the Gemini AI, look at Claude models, and then you have open source like Llama 3, which is really excellent right now, right? So it's a very vibrant landscape with lots of options on your foundation models. And then what you do is basically take this model, really build it upon it, right? Like what we've done, we basically build a platform around large language models to provide the ability for clients to analyze their private data, being able to provide that accuracy, the high 90s that are pivotal, that's really critical for healthcare life sciences industries, because not only we deal with complex data, it's a highly regulated industry, right? So accuracy is really critical, and also you have patients' lives that you work with. And then lastly is the transparency, right? You're dealing with science, you're dealing with medicine, so it's very much, it has to be that level of trust but verify. And this is what kind of we've done. Yes. Questions?
Well, I was wondering if you can comment a little bit how you're interacting with other industries. It seems a lot of new entrants in healthcare and life sciences are dominating right now. So you see companies that before never had anything to do with life sciences or healthcare, and now they have become quite robust, not only on the back end, but also they start to have kind of traction even direct to consumers, so not only at enterprise level. So do you see something like this interacting much more with your life sciences ecosystem, that more companies?
Yes, absolutely, right? If you look at healthcare and life sciences industry in general, they are kind of late adopters, right? So they are very hesitant of, disruption. We never use the word disruption because it's like, you transform, you don't disrupt, because, it's not like consumer, right? It's not like e-commerce. You really have to be kind of cautious because you're dealing with patient lives here. So and this is the kind of and this is nothing new, where newcomers coming into healthcare life sciences trying to kind of leverage technology to make an impact, right? Even when 15, 20 years ago, we had the same thing. So I want to say, bottom line, we welcome newcomers, we welcome innovation because we really need it. But I think an advice for kind of innovative companies, tech companies who are getting into healthcare, life sciences, my advice would be those guardrails really matter, right? And also it's never going to be an overnight success. It's great that some of them are gaining traction, but I think guardrails are really kind of critical for this.
So we'll talk in a second when we talk about challenges. We'll have a lot to mention there.
Yeah.
Yamina, what do you notice in terms of cross-industry impacts, and what are your observations regarding how AI has penetrated all industries?
Yeah, well, I will talk more, as Lana just did, about the life sciences, and I will definitely validate some of the key points that she's made, because it's an industry that is highly regulated, that is an industry that is really, it takes time. You're dealing with patients, you're dealing with people's health. You can't go wrong. So basically, whatever you are doing, you need to be providing the best data if you want to make it a proper service. And as much as the life science industry over the past few years has been really tiptoeing with those technologies and making some inroads, now I've seen a lot of new activities and a lot of activities of partnerships between the big pharma and the tech industry. And really, the whole objective, when you know that the pharma industry, it's cost billions to develop a new drugs, it takes years, 15 years. How can we save the money to make it happen? And here, what is going to happen in the next few years is this patent cliff. And the industry is, and the big pharma, all of them are going to be losing, there are some figures as large as $200 billion that are at stake. So what it's going to do, they need to replenish their pipeline. They need to make sure that they generate some new assets. And for that, making the bet of AI, making the bet of technology. And some of the most recent, we've seen it like last month, is this partnership with Google and the DeepMind AlphaFold, which is basically supporting the early discovery and predicting with 50% accuracy compared to the traditional method how those molecules are going to work. Okay, so what we are saying is that an uptake in the pharma industry, an uptake from the big tech companies to go into the life science industry. So that's really good. It's not going to stop the clinical trials requirements, but at the same time, there is a lot of partnerships, new on board, and it's happening quicker, much quicker than we had seen like even 5 years ago. I mean, when I started implementing AI. In terms of cross industries, and really I'm going to validate also some points, some learning points, because we implemented Spring, and there are two big things, is that we need to have people who not just understand the tech, but they need to understand the science. So that's really, really difficult. Second, so the war for talent is really important. And second is that we are dealing with a lot of data. We are dealing with some data, a lot of it, and it's coming from different sources. It's coming from conferences, it's coming from literature, it's coming from patents, clinicaltrials.gov. So how can we consolidate that and make it more efficient to our users? And this is what we have done over the last 5 years, and over the last year integrated the OpenAI API to make it even nicer. So there's, and all those developments have happened very quickly. And this year we are working on the next stage with the GPT-4, definitely.
That's great. So all of you touched on key elements. I can add a few more that I've noticed in some of the publications to complement all your insights already. New business models are being worked on. Like Efi mentioned, we don't have them proven yet, but everybody's trying to understand how this will recalibrate and reconfigure business models. Novel investment instruments are being shaped and designed, because we realize that traditional investment instruments don't fit this rapid pace of adoption and cross-industry AI adoption. Definitely cyber ethics seems to be something that all enterprises realize, that just doing ethics, just doing cyber is not cutting it anymore, and they'll have to integrate. Of course, we're not even mentioning those that don't want to do any of them. That's terrible. But those that actually want to do them. And then last but not least, you all alluded to the fact that the workforce is essential. So integrating a global, hybrid, multi-generational workforce, somehow reconciling that the global AI talent resides only in 2 countries. OECD has amazing data that showed that the talent for AI is in mostly 2 countries, 90% of it. So imagine the pressure that we're all under. But great points from all of you.
Ingrid, I'd like to add another realization, at least from the broader financial industry, that the businesses that are digital laggards in their, they're behind in the digital transformation, they are at a major disadvantage. And it's only the businesses that were very advanced in their digital transformation when OpenAI, when all this was unleashed, that have a big advantage. Because Absolutely. At the end of the day, you have to look at your data architecture and be set up in a way that you can leverage these technologies. And this is what we are actually seeing already. It's an open question. The verdict is out there. Who can catch up? But clearly the companies, the businesses that were advanced have a big advantage in this transformation.
Totally, absolutely. So now that we gave the 30,000-foot view, let's hone in on each of your industries and your expertise and experience. So Efi, if you think now about fintech, which one do you think is the major challenge that you're concerned about when you think about the rapid pace of adoption in fintech? What would you caution everyone in that?
Look, I mean, our industry, you know, financial services, whether it is fintech, as in, you know, the fintechs now are grown up, right? If you think of companies that you might know, like Stripe or Square, they're fintechs, but they're mature companies. They're 15 years old. Most of them are public. The biggest issue is data privacy. In financial services, we cannot, like in healthcare, afford to not be compliant, to hallucinate when we give financial advice. The fiduciary duty in our industry is huge. It's, you know, you can't just not pay attention to it. So whether we're talking about adopting the next generation of chatbots for consumer-facing purposes or for B2B purposes, it's extremely important to know that we don't have hallucinations, and where is the fiduciary duty? And when I think of not where we're at now, where we're going to be soon, a little bit more futuristic, it is clear that AI bots are going to be entities that will need to be served by financial services. They will need a bank account. They will need a wallet. They will be executing and deciding on financial decisions on our financial life as individuals and for businesses. So the financial industry will have to adopt in a way that is completely disruptive. What does it mean to serve an AI bot that is, you know, executing on my behalf or on my business's behalf? So that's a very big challenge that we're not facing today, but we can see that it will be a reality. And we knew it before generative AI because we were well aware of payments and value exchange between machines. But now it's going to a very different level. We're talking about financial advice. The reality is that AI companions, like in the sense of having a partner, having a friend, if you look at the data, they have had the exponential adoption in the last 6 months. What does that mean? That soon you and I are going to be talking to a personal bot about our concerns, and our concerns, our life is entangled with financial concerns. So we're already, whether we realize it or not, talking to these bots, and then there's all these fiduciary duties.
Absolutely. So you already highlighted why I chose fintech and health tech, and people always are surprised, and it's because of what you just mentioned. We're dealing with financial lives and biological lives, but they're still our lives. So
yes. And one of the big issues that we have in the financial industry is how to deal with the built-in biases that exist, because all these models are trained on whatever they're trained, you know, be it text, be it video, be it existing content. So naturally, they have biases. So how are we going to deal with that when we are making credit decisions, be it for a credit card, be it for a loan, a consumer loan, a business loan, capital markets, you know, raising capital in investment banking? That is a huge issue. The credit markets are much, much bigger than stock markets, equity markets. You know, the whole economy. If we're talking about oil, our economies, credit is oil. Forget about data or anything
Absolutely.
else. Credit is oil, right? So how are we going to deal with that? I would say that these are major issues. What will regulators do? How will they deal with it? The regulatory uncertainty and how to deal with that. How could fintechs, how could anybody build a financial services business today that is what I would call an AI native business without knowing what the regulation is going to be? These are the big challenges. I would, some of the big challenges. I'll give it over to you.
Thank you. So Lana, what are some of the challenges you see in life sciences, and how do you think it has impacted your business?
Maybe I can start by kind of talking a little bit about the life sciences adoption of AI and generative AI. So, you know, like Yamina mentioned, right, it takes 10 years and $2.6 billion to bring a new medicine to market. So it's way too costly and takes way too long, right? And then during the pandemic, we saw how COVID-19 vaccine can basically develop to get like, you know, partial approval within just, you know, months, right? Yeah. So this is kind of shows you what is possible. And then that's no surprise that industry is looking for AI and generative AI, right? If you look at the kind of the use cases, the drug discovery is actually early adopter of generative AI, right? The molecule models way before ChatGPT came to the scene. So, and then I want to go to kind of the evidence generation piece, right? The entire industry is driven by generating evidence from complex data that resides within all these different data silos, right? And then the industry is relying on kind of manual curation. And you can imagine using large language model, using a responsible AI platform in our hands, we can shorten that cycle of, you know, curating data from, you know, the different data sources, be it private and be it public, from, you know, days, weeks to months to now minutes, right? So that type of kind of saving time allows folks to do stuff that would take them much, much longer. And there are also data from other firms, like for example, McKinsey showed that if you can actually use generative AI for feasibility before you enroll first patient, that can shorten your submission approval by 1 to 2 years, from 7 years to 5 years. Can you imagine the impact and how many like lives can be saved by giving the drug access 2 years ahead? So it's really the impact is quite profound. So if you look at the use cases for generative AI in the industry right now, it's very much about cost cutting. It's very much about increasing efficiency. It's very much about saving time, right? So now I want to get to kind of the challenges. So there's like recently a survey was released that 50% of life sciences companies actually ban their employees using ChatGPT. If you move on to the top 20 global pharma, about 65%, right, is the concern about you cannot basically feed our private data into ChatGPT, right, into large language model. So it's never as easy as feeding the data into a large language model and be done. So that's why we kind of built this platform to be able to solve those high level concerns, right? Privacy and security. And the second thing is that the kind of the industry's trust on AI is relatively low, right? So how do you kind of increase that confidence level by eliminating hallucination and also eliminate some of the black box nature of these models, right? Again, you know, citations and giving other levels of transparency. You can actually look at the source data that supported that generative content so that you can trust but verify. That's the second thing. I think we'll have a long way to go, right? But you look at the industry, like I said, early adopters, I mean, 60% of the life sciences companies have already started experimenting, or some of the bigger guys already deployed AI solutions, right? So we're not like, it is still early in terms of exploration of different use cases, but in terms of the industry's acceptance of AI, it's not super early. And then lastly is this concept of AI is not going to replace you, but your colleagues who use AI will, right? So this concern about displacement, am I going to be replaced by AI, is a real issue. So you're talking about adoption, you're talking about what is change control, right? It goes back to, again, to that privacy, security, and then trust. So I think it's going to be an iterative process. It's going to be a long journey, particularly on the adoption side. But we're making really transformative change in terms of the evidence you couldn't get before. Now you can get it in minutes.
Absolutely. And you mentioned another reason why healthcare has to catch up with the financial services industry, because their explainable AI and the black box issues have been plaguing the industry for many years already. We are just now finally dealing with them in healthcare and life sciences. So hopefully healthcare will catch up and mirror what has been done in finance.
For sure.
And Yamina, what's your challenge that you've noticed in pharma specifically now? Lana addressed life sciences.
You just mentioned the black box. One, I mean, there are a few, but certainly that black box is extremely important. The reason behind that is that as it is a highly regulated industry, the FDA is requiring that they understand correctly the mechanism of actions for all their drugs so that they can approve them. And here, if we are looking to an algorithm to basically develop a new drug, a new activity, so that is a big question. How is the FDA going to approve that? So that's transparency is an element, and that what is in that black box for the FDA is still not yet answered. So that's one of them. But the other one is the fact that who has started using that in a very focused way? It's the big pharma. I mean, like the Novartis and the deal with the Google DeepMind, and again, those are big partners. That's a deal that costs like around like $3 billion. It costs a lot of money. They are, the thing is, and I've heard it from the pharma industry itself, is that there are so many companies and apps that are going to come to you and say, well, we can do this with AI, we can help you solve that. And they are bombarded with all this technology and all those promises. They just don't know where to start and who to trust with, to go with at the beginning, because when you're going to be partnering with somebody, you are going to be inevitably sharing some data. So basically that's really important to them. So they are saying, we've got all of them coming, but who should we trust? What should we be doing? And it then asks the question that is, where do we start? And my answer to them is very much start your AI tech project with a small problem that you can clearly define, scope, and build from there. Don't try and understand everything that there is to be about AI and how it can revolutionize your company. Start small and then grow with it. But it has got some immense opportunities to basically be changing the environment, the way that we are developing new drugs, cut years into the development, and it's there. We just have to make sense out of it and work with it for our own companies. Some really good and sound case studies so that we can demonstrate how it can help us. I think that's the big challenge within those pharma companies.
All of you mentioned extremely important challenges, and there are many more. Of course, we can't enumerate all of them, but even in your prior answers, you mentioned cybersecurity, privacy, trust, dilution of offerings, people rushing to use data that maybe don't even have approval for, right? And also so many product services, apps that people at high level in boardrooms and C-suites don't know how to prioritize, don't know how to assess risk. They also don't know how to assess the maturity or the quality of these products. They're just having no standards yet. And I think there are lots of groups who are working on developing these standards so that we have them. Once again, financial industry has mastered standards way earlier for all other emerging technologies. So hopefully we'll get them for all industries, including healthcare and life sciences.
Yep.
So believe it or not, we have only a few minutes left. So for the opportunities, your predictions for the future where AI will deeply not only transform, but actually disrupt your industry, I want you to give me your prediction as an opportunity. So the positive side. So Efi, then Lana, and then Yamina.
I will stick with the bots, the AI bots that are going to be serving us and booking our trips, advising us for our financial health, so we can be more creative. And I see that the banking industry will have to grow an entire business on serving AI bots.
Great prediction. You might be 99.9% right. Lana?
I'm particularly excited about autonomous agents. As you know, right, healthcare life sciences, like, it's really complex workflow. So having some kind of agents will be able to greatly increase efficiency by automate some of these processes. And then my other prediction is we don't know what's going to come up in the next 2 years, the next year, let alone 5 years. So I remain very optimistic and excited about what's to come.
That's good. Actually, during the pandemic, Italy tested nurses that were fully automated, so robots at the bedside, and had great results. Higher efficiency, no burnout, no health conditions. The patients could ask 100,000 times the same thing and no one got upset, so they had great results.
Yeah, it's in our hands. We see machine do way better than human experts
and
as well.
In certain areas. Yeah. Very good. Yamina, your prediction for the next decade for AI?
I mean, I'm really optimistic, just by what we've seen over the last 2 years. And one last comment is on this company. I don't know if you've heard of Okin. It's a French-European company, and they describe themselves as an AI biotech company. So I think this is the future. This is the first one that I've seen, and this is the future. They are an AI biotech company. The second thing that makes me optimistic too is the fact that we've got this drug that was all fully AI discovered, put in the clinics, and it's there. It's currently being tested, and hopefully it's going to go all the way. So it is happening very slowly. And I'm trying to remember the name of that company, but it's an AI company. I can put a note on that afterwards. But there is a lot of AI discoveries, developments, companies that are embracing it. So I do believe that there's a lot more to come in the next few years. The last one was an interesting article that we saw, that you had a lot of controversies last week, which is that CNBC article, how basically they would be using generative AI to develop actually new chemical compounds automatically generated. So that was an interesting one. So plenty of things happen.
So thank you all for your insights. To close, as a goodbye message to our audience, I'm sure they're intrigued about Efi's book and about Huma AI, what you're actually doing at the Spring platform. So 30 seconds pitch to our audience to Efi, why should they read your upcoming book? Lana, why should they reach out to Huma? And Yamina, why should enterprises use Spring platform? So Efi, Lana, then Yamina.
We're all familiar with blurs, industry blurs. We believe that our future is a fast future blur, and that opportunities exist at the intersection of these advanced technologies where they interconnect with the socioeconomic trends. And that's what we discuss in the book with specific examples. I'm particularly excited about what it means to think like an AI native business. And that's the chapter I'm focused on in this book. And the future is complex, and there are opportunities along with the challenges, and those that identify them early are going to be the leaders and will shape our future.
Perfect book. I'm looking forward to reading it. Lana, why should enterprises reach out to Uma AI?
My call to action is that if you work in a life sciences company, and if you actually work with, you need to generate evidence out of data, and you're tired of manually curating, and so come to us. We'll automate that process for you.
Great, thank you. Yamina, your call to action?
Okay, so I would be delighted to actually show everybody what Spring does. But we are a consulting firm in competitive intelligence. Competitive and strategic intelligence is paramount for the pharma industry. Understanding what are the latest developments, how they are evolving, how do you compare with your competitors, and the current standard of care. So we have implemented Spring that is unique in the way that it stands for searchable primary intelligence, and we encapsulate in that platform all the intelligence regarding your clinical trials, your market launch, and then we make it searchable for you. So all the data is validated, and that's really, really important. It's triple checked. We've talked to different doctors, and it's dedicated to your project. And the next phase, last phase that we've implemented is that all this data is there, and we implemented OpenAI API so that it can also write a report for you so that you can understand quickly how the technology, how the knowledge has evolved over the last few years. Because